My name is Rachel Martin. I'm 35, and until recently I thought I had a good sense of who I could trust. But that changed the night of my parents' wedding anniversary party, when my daughter Lily told me we had to leave right away. I didn't understand what she meant. Not at first. The whole evening had seemed so perfect, at least on the outside. The ballroom at the Hillcrest Club was glowing with soft lights. There was a live jazz trio, waiters serving little appetizers, and smiling faces everywhere. My parents were celebrating 40 years of marriage, and I had spent weeks helping them prepare. But as we stood near the cake table, Lily grabbed my wrist tightly and whispered, "Mom, we need to go. Now." I looked at her confused. "What? Why?" "I'll explain in the car," she said. Her tone was steady, but her eyes looked scared. She wasn't joking. Something was wrong. I looked around, trying to figure out what she might have seen. People were laughing, hugging, dancing. But Lily wasn't just being moody. I knew my daughter. She noticed things I didn't. She always had. What I didn't know then was how much she'd noticed over the past few months. Things I had ignored because I wanted to believe in the idea of family. Looking back now, I realize I'd been blind for far too long. Growing up in the Walker household was never easy, even if it looked that way from the outside. My dad, Charles, built a real estate company that did well in our area. My mom, Evelyn, managed our social life like it was her full-time job. Everything had to look perfect: family photos, holiday parties, even the way we answered the phone. But love in our house came with terms. Make honor roll? That got you a smile. Question something or fall short? That got you a quiet, cold distance that could last for weeks. I got used to it. So when I married Jason Bell, the son of one of my dad's longtime business friends, I thought I'd finally made them proud. Jason had all the things my parents loved. An MBA, a clean-cut look, charm at every dinner table. And for years I played the role they expected. We hosted Christmas dinners, we sent out glossy family newsletters, we even vacationed with my parents once a year. I had 2 kids, Lily, now 16, and Noah, who just turned 9. On paper, we looked like everything my parents could have hoped for. But behind closed doors, Jason wasn't the man he pretended to be. Over time, he became controlling, critical, cold. I kept excusing it, brushing things off, telling myself he was stressed or tired. Then last year I found out he was having an affair with his 26-year-old assistant, Kendra. That broke everything wide open. The divorce that followed wasn't just hard. It was brutal. Jason had more money, better lawyers, and my parents' silent support. I had to fight for fair custody and scrape together freelance design work to keep us afloat. I moved us into a small rental house and took part-time shifts at a local gallery. Through all of that, I held on to one comforting thought. At least my parents seemed to be on my side. After the separation, they started calling more. They invited the kids over, sent gift cards, even came to Lily's school play. I thought maybe, just maybe, they had finally picked me over appearances. I clung to that. But Lily didn't buy it. One night, after another awkward Sunday dinner at their house, she looked at me and said, "They're treating you like a project, not like a daughter." I laughed it off. "Sweetheart, they're trying in their own way. It's just different." She didn't argue. She just gave me that look. The one she gets when she's already figured something out. As the months passed, Lily stopped going to those dinners. She'd make excuses about schoolwork or say she wasn't feeling well. When she did come, she kept her distance, always watching more than talking. Noah, on the other hand, adored the attention. Grandpa took him fishing, Grandma bought him things I couldn't afford: baseball jerseys, remote control drones, even an iPad. They kept telling him how smart he was, how they could see him following in Grandpa's footsteps one day. When my parents announced they were hosting a 40th anniversary party at the country club, I tried to see it as a new beginning. I helped with the guest list, the catering, even made a photo slideshow for them. I didn't have money for a new dress, so I altered one from before the divorce. Lily asked me why I was trying so hard. "Because that's what family does," I told her. "We show up." The day of the party was picture perfect. I helped Lily with her hair, convinced her to wear the pale blue dress my mom had bought for her. "Just a few hours," I said. "Let's make it through." When we arrived, the place looked like something out of a magazine: white flowers, candlelight, champagne flowing. My parents greeted us at the door. My mom gave me a quick kiss on the cheek and said, "You look comfortable." Then she turned to Lily, beaming. Now that color looks amazing on you. Dad didn't even look at me. He went straight to Noah and scooped him up with a grin. There's my future business partner. Got a special seat for you next to Grandpa. I told myself not to take it personally. Things felt normal for the first hour or so. I chatted with extended family, smiled politely as people asked how I was doing. I kept scanning the room for Lily and Noah. Noah was easy to find, sitting proudly beside my dad at the front table. But Lily kept disappearing, and every time I spotted her, she was off to the side, looking more like an observer than a guest. Then it happened. I was standing near the bar when I saw Jason walk in. He looked polished and smug in a tailored suit. Kendra was with him, laughing at something he said, her heels clicking across the floor like she owned the place. My stomach flipped. I turned to my sister-in-law, Molly. Did you know they were coming? She winced. Your mom sent them a personal invite. Before I could react, my parents were already hugging Jason and welcoming Kendra like royalty. My dad gave Jason a huge pat on the back. My mom complimented Kendra's dress. I stood there, frozen, watching them welcome the man who had cheated on me like he was still part of the family. When I caught my mother's eye, she just shrugged. Jason's practically family. It would have been awkward to leave him out. I poured myself a glass of wine and tried to pretend it didn't bother me. But something in Lily's face that night, her alertness, the way she watched everything, made me uneasy. She was texting someone, her expression unreadable. I assumed it was a friend. I didn't think to ask. I didn't see it for what it was. Later that evening, just as everyone was gathering for cake, I saw Lily standing by herself near the edge of the room. She was staring at Jason, Dad, and Noah, who were all talking like they were making some secret plan. My mother stood nearby, watching them with the kind of smile I hadn't seen directed at me in years. Then came the slideshow. 40 years of their marriage, dozens of photos, of my brother and his wife, of holidays, of company picnics. Jason showed up in picture after picture. Noah too. Me? I was barely in a handful. Lily? Only twice. And that's when Lily leaned in and whispered, "We really do need to leave. Now." I didn't move at first. I kept watching the slideshow, letting the smiles and memories of other people flash across the screen. But my stomach was churning. Lily wasn't being dramatic. She was scared and serious. I whispered back, "Can you just tell me what's going on?" She shook her head. "Not here. I need you to trust me." I glanced across the room. My dad was raising a glass, getting ready to speak. Jason and Noah were standing beside him now like a little team. My mom was beaming. And somewhere in all of that, I was starting to feel like a stranger. "Okay," I said quietly. "Let me grab Noah, then we'll go." "Please don't let Grandpa stop you," Lily said, eyes flicking toward the head table. I nodded and made my way through the crowd. People were still clapping after my dad's toast. Something about protecting the family legacy and making bold decisions. I barely heard it. When I reached Noah, he was laughing at something Jason had shown him on his phone. He looked up and frowned when I said we were leaving. "But Grandpa said there's a surprise later," he complained. "We'll come back for it another day," I said, trying to sound calm. "Right now we need to go." Before I could take his hand, my mother appeared, blocking my way like she'd been waiting. Her voice was light but tight. "Leaving already? The evening's just getting good." "Lily's not feeling well," I said. "She can go home with your brother. You and Noah should stay for the announcement." The way she said announcement made my skin crawl. I didn't like how this felt. Like something was being set up behind my back. "I think we've had enough for tonight," I said, gently but firmly. She gave me a tight smile. "Your father won't be happy." "That's becoming a pattern," I replied. Just as I started to walk away with Noah, Jason stepped into my path. "Heading out," he said, too casually. "Your dad was hoping to talk to you about some things. Financial planning mostly. For Noah's future." He looked me up and down, his eyes landing on my shoes. Probably noticed I'd scuffed them on the walk-in. "Not tonight," I said, moving past him. "Don't be difficult," he muttered under his breath. "This is important. They're just trying to help." "Help who, Jason?" "You." Lily stepped between us without hesitation. "We're leaving. Now." She reached for Noah's hand. "Come on, buddy." I didn't look back. As we walked past the exit, I overheard one of my dad's business friends talking near the door. Transfer of title should go smoothly once the custody petition's approved. Keeping it in the family, another said. Just not through her. My heart stopped. I didn't even know what they meant exactly, but I knew it was about me. I squeezed Noah's hand tighter and kept walking. Outside the air was warm, but I felt cold. Lily stayed quiet as we walked to the car. Once we were inside and driving away, I tried to calm myself. Noah played with a party favor in the back seat, humming to himself, completely unaware. Lily sat beside me, tense, arms crossed, eyes straight ahead. After a few minutes, I asked, "Are you going to tell me what this is all about?" "Not yet," she whispered, glancing at Noah. "He shouldn't hear it." I nodded. We drove in silence for a while. Once Noah's head started to droop, I looked for a place to pull over. I found an empty parking lot behind a closed pharmacy and parked under a streetlight. Lily turned to me. "Can I show you something?" I nodded. She pulled out her phone, unlocked it, and opened her messages. "I've been talking to someone," she said. "Someone you're not going to expect." She handed me the phone. The name on the screen made my chest tighten. Aunt Megan. My dad's youngest sister. The one no one had spoken about for years. The one we were told was unstable, greedy, ungrateful. I scrolled through the messages. Lily had found her on Instagram months ago. She had reached out saying something felt off with the way my parents treated me, and how they were starting to treat Noah. "She warned me to pay attention," Lily said. "She said this has happened before." I looked up at her. "What do you mean?" "Mom." She told me Grandpa did something like this to her. At a family event just like tonight. Signed documents, changed trust funds, handed everything off to someone else. Then made it look like she was crazy when she tried to fight back. My throat went dry. How did you even find all this out? The last time we were at their house, I was doing homework in Grandpa's office. He was out golfing. I saw papers on his desk, legal stuff. They had your name on them. Jason's too. There were red flags on the pages. Literally. Like, red sticky notes marking things. "Lily, you shouldn't have been looking at that." "I know. But I was scared. I needed to understand what they were doing. Tonight, when I saw how they acted, I knew it was real. I went into the back office at the club. Grandpa keeps a briefcase there. I heard him talking to Jason about documents earlier. I found them, Mom. I took pictures." She opened her photo album. My name was on multiple pages. Legal papers, custody forms, transfer documents for the house I grew up in. But none of them included me as a decision maker. One photo was a list of concerns about my parenting. Notes about my job, my finances, even my emotional state after the divorce. And in one corner, a comment in my dad's handwriting. "Ethan better off with Jason's structure, legacy, resources." I stared at it, barely breathing. "There's more," Lily said. She played an audio file. I recognized my father's voice immediately. "She's always been too sensitive. Jason understands structure. He's better for Noah long term." Then Jason. "With me as custodial parent, we can keep the house in the family. Rachel would sell it off the second she hit a financial bump." Then my mom. "At least Jason has stayed close. He's reliable. Not like Rachel with her creative projects and mood swings." I covered my mouth. I couldn't listen anymore. "They want to erase you, Mom," Lily said softly. "They're trying to cut you out of your own family." I sat there trying to process it all. How did it get this far without me seeing it? How could they be planning all of this, right under my nose while I helped plan their party? "I couldn't let them announce it tonight," Lily said. "Aunt Megan said that's what they do. They make it public so it's harder for you to fight back." I reached for her hand. "You did the right thing. I'm sorry I didn't see it. I should have listened to you." She squeezed back. "I was scared you wouldn't believe me. I believe you now." We sat there for a long time. The party lights were far behind us, and everything felt quiet except for the soft snoring from the back seat. In that moment, something shifted in me. All the years I had spent chasing approval, trying to be the perfect daughter, the perfect wife, they didn't matter anymore. Now I had something real to fight for. That night, after I got Noah into bed, I couldn't sleep. I just kept staring at the ceiling, playing every scene from the party over and over in my mind. I kept hearing their voices, the way my parents talked about me, the way Jason smiled while standing next to my son like nothing had ever happened. And through all of that, one thing kept me grounded: Lily. She was asleep on the couch with her phone still in her hand. I covered her with a blanket and sat at the kitchen table. I needed to understand exactly what I was up against. For the first time in years, I logged into an old email account I used to share with Jason when we were married. He had always used the drafts folder to write reminders to himself. I wasn't sure if the password still worked, but it did. He'd never changed it. I started reading. My hands shook as I scrolled through messages he had written but never sent. One said, "Dad-in-law agrees to finalize transfer before fall. Custody shift comes next. Rachel distracted with work. Unlikely to notice." Another one, "Anniversary event is ideal for public announcement. Evelyn worried about backlash, but Charles confident Rachel will go along if she's cornered." They had been planning this for months, coordinating everything, and using my own child as part of the leverage. At 2 a.m, I did something I never imagined I'd do. I messaged Megan. I told her Lily had shown me everything. I asked if we could talk. She responded right away. "I've been waiting for this message for years. Call me when you're ready." We spoke on the phone for over an hour. Her voice was steady, but I could hear the hurt that still lived underneath it. She told me how, years ago, my dad had done something nearly identical to her. Used a family dinner to announce financial changes, pushed her out of her inheritance, and convinced everyone she was unstable when she pushed back. He made her out to be dramatic, selfish, ungrateful. She had lost her relationship with most of the family for over a decade. "I tried to warn you back then," she said. "But you were getting married to Jason. You thought Dad was a hero." I swallowed hard. I didn't want to believe anything else. "The good news is you're seeing it now," she said. "And you have Lily. That girl is sharp. Brave too. Don't let them gaslight you into thinking this is just in your head." Before we hung up, she gave me the number of a lawyer she trusted. Someone who wasn't connected to the family in any way. The next morning after getting Noah off to school, I made the call. The lawyer's name was Julia Cross. Her office wasn't fancy. She didn't have a downtown high-rise or a team of assistants. But within 10 minutes of sitting across from her, I knew she was the right one. "Your situation isn't as uncommon as you might think," she said, after reviewing the documents and photos Lily had collected. "Some wealthy families use trusts and property not just to manage wealth, but to control people. What makes your case different is the amount of proof you have, and your daughter." Julia explained the steps we needed to take. First, we would file to prevent any property transfers until the full situation was reviewed. Next, we'd file a motion to protect my existing custody rights. And finally, we'd collect additional documentation to build a case showing an attempt to manipulate both me and my children for financial gain. "What about Noah?" I asked. "They've been planting ideas in his head. That he'd have a better life living with Jason. Better schools, more stuff." "That's real," she said. "It's called parental alienation, and courts take it seriously, especially when there's evidence." Lily insisted on being there during the meeting. She listened quietly, took notes, even asked a few questions. Julia smiled at her. "You're an incredible young woman," she said. "What you did could make all the difference here." When we left the office, I felt something I hadn't felt in months, maybe years. A sense of clarity. I wasn't just reacting anymore. I was taking back control. The next few days were full of calls, paperwork, and hard conversations. Julia helped us file emergency notices to freeze the property transfer and notified Jason's lawyers that I was aware of the attempted custody modification. Lily kept gathering information. She organized everything, every email, every recording, every photo. She created timelines. She even helped Noah, gently and patiently, understand what was going on in ways he could grasp. I overheard her one afternoon explaining to him that what we were doing was kind of like when they make rules in video games so no one cheats. "We're just making sure everyone plays fair," she told him. The hardest part was calling my brother Marcus. He lives in Arizona and stays out of family drama. But I needed to know if he was involved. When I told him what I discovered, he was quiet. "I've heard Dad and Jason talking," he admitted. "They made it sound like it was all above board. Just legal paperwork. For taxes or something. But you knew it involved me? He hesitated. I didn't think they'd go this far. I'm sorry, Ratch. His voice was full of regret. He offered to send me emails he'd received from Dad. Some included outlines of the trust changes and plans to shift assets away from me and toward Jason, for the benefit of Noah's future. I thanked him. It wasn't much, but it was something. Julia added his emails to the case file. Meanwhile, we started seeing a family therapist. The sessions were mostly for Noah. I wanted him to feel safe, not caught in the middle. During one meeting, he looked at me and said, "Grandpa said if I lived with Dad, I'd get to go to a school with a swimming pool. He said you probably can't afford that." I had to take a breath before answering. That may be true, I said gently. But what matters most is where you feel loved, and where people listen to you. You don't have to choose between people. We're all still your family. As hard as it was, those sessions helped. Lily relaxed a little. Noah started asking more questions. Honest ones. And I finally stopped pretending everything was fine just to keep the peace. Megan became a lifeline during that time. She visited a few weekends, got to know Lily, and even helped us sort through legal files. She told me something I'll never forget. Your dad always picks one person to isolate, the one who questions him. Then he turns everyone else against them. That's what he did to me. That's what he tried to do to you. But this time he didn't count on Lily. She was right. Lily had been the one to see it all first. She had the guts to say what I wouldn't. Later that week, Julia told me Jason wanted to meet. He's getting nervous, she said. The documents we've filed are slowing everything down. And I've heard his fiancée's family isn't too happy about all this bad press. I agreed to meet him, but on my terms, at a quiet cafe with my phone on the table, recording the conversation. Jason showed up looking tired, not nearly as confident as he used to be. "This is all getting out of hand," he said. "The lawyers, the court stuff. It's making things messy." "Messy for who?" I asked. "For all of us. Especially Noah." "Noah's not the one who started hiding legal documents behind my back," I said. "This became legal the second you and my parents tried to take what wasn't yours." He didn't argue. Not really. Instead, he tried to spin it as concern. Your dad wanted stability. He was worried about your finances, your ability to keep the house. So their solution was to hand it to you? He rubbed his temples. "Look, if you back off, I'll tell your dad I'm not interested in the trust. I'll stick to the original custody terms. But you need to drop the rest." "No," I said. He stared at me. "Why not?" "Because Lily and Noah deserve better than being used as bargaining chips. And I do too." He tried one last time. "You're not going to win this fight. My lawyers, your parents, they have more power than you do." "Maybe," I said. "But I have something they don't." He raised an eyebrow. "What's that?" "Truth. And a daughter who isn't afraid to speak it." After that meeting with Jason, things began to move faster. Julia filed more paperwork to secure my rights to the property, and to make sure no custody changes could happen without going through the courts first. Lily kept updating our files like a pro. She even color-coded everything. Sometimes I forgot she was just 16. Other times, I'd catch her texting Megan late at night or quietly checking on Noah after school, and I'd remember how much weight she'd carried for months without me knowing. She had grown up faster than I wanted, but maybe exactly when we needed her to. The real turning point came 3 months after the anniversary party. Julia arranged a formal meeting at her office with everyone involved. It was time to bring the truth into the open. No more whispers, no more side deals. When we walked into that small conference room, it felt surreal. My parents were already seated on one side of the table, stiff and stone-faced. Jason was next to them, looking like he wanted to disappear. Megan sat on my side, calm and quiet, but her presence alone made the air feel stronger. And then there was Lily, sitting tall and calm at the head of the table, folders neatly stacked in front of her, completely unshaken. I couldn't have been prouder. Julia started the meeting with a brief summary. "We're here today to address a coordinated attempt to reassign family assets, shift child custody, and undermine Ms. Martin's parental authority and inheritance rights." Her tone was clear, professional, and firm. My dad leaned forward. "I object to Megan being here. She's not involved in this matter." She's absolutely involved, I said. And she understands exactly how you operate. My mom let out a quiet sigh and dabbed the corner of her eye with a tissue. I don't understand how we got here. We just wanted what was best for the family. Best for who? I asked. You tried to take my home, my son, and erase my daughter from the family like she didn't exist. We never, my mom started, but Julia raised a hand and placed a folder on the table. Before we continue, I suggest we review some of the evidence. Recorded conversations, documented transfers, legal drafts already in motion. She opened the file. For the next hour, she walked us all through every detail. The emails, the texts, the recorded conversations between my parents and Jason, the outlines of trust changes, the private discussions about Noah's custody, and, most disturbingly, the way my family had planned to exclude Lily completely because she was too much like me. Too independent. Too aware. My father sat silently, his jaw tight, as Julia listed the possible legal consequences. Civil claims. Breach of fiduciary duty. Parental alienation. What do you want? He finally asked, cold and flat. Julia handed him a sheet. Here are our terms. 1. All property previously promised to Ms. Martin remains under her full ownership. No modifications. 2. Both children, Lily and Noah, are guaranteed equal rights to any future inheritance, with an independent third-party trustee. 3. All grandparent visitation will be supervised until trust is re-established. My mom gasped. We don't need supervision to see our grandchildren. You've already violated that trust, Julia said calmly. This is the result of your actions. The conversation went on for hours. Tense. Painful. But by the end of it, they signed the agreement. They had no choice. The proof was too strong. Their lawyers told them as much. As we got up to leave, my father looked at me one last time. I hope you're satisfied. You've caused damage that may never be repaired. Before I could answer, Lily spoke, her voice steady, respectful but clear. You caused the damage when you decided we didn't matter. We're just making sure there are consequences now. He said nothing. No one did. In the months that followed, things began to change. I used the secured inheritance to buy a small house just outside the city. It wasn't fancy, but it was ours. No more renting. No more tiptoeing around my parents' opinions. I took on more hours at the gallery, and eventually moved into a management role. For the first time, I felt proud of my work, like it mattered. Lily relaxed. Her shoulders didn't seem as tense all the time. She stayed close with Megan, and the two of them even planned a weekend trip to Colorado to meet Megan's family. They sent me pictures, hiking trails, cousins laughing, late-night ice cream runs. It looked like a second chance. Noah took more time. He missed his grandparents at first. He didn't understand why things had changed. But we talked openly, in therapy and at home. We explained things slowly, honestly. And over time, he stopped repeating things Grandpa used to say. He started asking his own questions instead. My parents? They complied, at least on paper. The court-ordered visitation started with short, supervised meetings. They tried to push the limits at first, small gifts, subtle comments. But every time we held the line. And slowly their behavior began to shift. Not because they had changed as people, but because the rules were finally clear. Jason. He backed off. Once he realized the pressure from his fiancée's family wasn't going away, he stopped pushing for changes. He stayed involved with Noah, more respectful than before. Even started paying attention to Lily again, though she kept her distance. 1 year after that night at the country club, Lily and I sat on the porch of our home, watching the sun go down. We were quiet for a while, just listening to the breeze. Do you think Grandma and Grandpa will ever really change? She asked. I thought about it. No, I said honestly. Not who they are deep down. But they might learn to act differently. People can do that when they're forced to. She nodded. I still don't get why they did it. They have more money than they could ever use. What were they trying to prove? It wasn't about money, I said. It was about control. about punishing me for not doing things their way. She looked down, twisting her bracelet. I'm glad we stood up for ourselves. We wouldn't have if it weren't for you, I said, reaching over to hold her hand. You saw it first. You trusted your gut when I didn't. You protected me. You protected Noah. She looked away, embarrassed. I just paid attention. That's exactly what they never expected anyone to do. We sat there until it got dark, not needing to say anything else. I thought about all the years I had spent trying to please people who were never truly proud of me. All the times I bit my tongue, smiled through the pain, or accepted less than I deserved, because I thought that's what family loyalty meant. But Lily taught me something more powerful than any inheritance could give. That family isn't just about blood or names or parties at country clubs. It's about who shows up, who tells the truth, who protects you when no one else does. That night, as we went back inside and turned off the lights, I realized the legacy I wanted to leave for my children wasn't property or money. It was strength. It was the courage to speak up, the power to choose truth over silence. And thanks to Lily, that legacy had already begun.